All right, in this lesson, we are going to be looking at two lines that are given to you. And you have to decide, without even graphing them or anything, if these lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither, and what that means about how many solutions there are to a system. Okay? So in order to tell if something is parallel or perpendicular, what you need to know is if their slopes are the same. So I would suggest getting both of these lines into y equals mx plus b form so that you can look at their slopes, okay? So we're first of all going to look at this top equation right here. I'm just going to rewrite it for you. And we want to get that one into y equals mx plus b form. So I will subtract 2x, and I'll have negative 3y equals negative 2x plus 9. And then I'll go ahead and divide by negative 3. And then I will have y equals 2/3 x minus 3. Okay, so I'm just going to box that off for a minute and we'll come back to that. What I can see from there is that my slope, which is my m, part of my equation, is 2/3. Okay, that's what I can tell from that line. And now we'll go ahead and look at this bottom line, which I'll rewrite here. Okay, and then I want to also get that one into y equals mx plus b form, so I'll go ahead and subtract 9x. And I will have 6y equals negative 9x plus 12. And I'll go ahead and divide by 6. And y equals negative 9/6 would reduce to negative 3/2 x. And then 12 divided by 6 is 2. So there's that line. And I can see that my m is negative 3/2. Okay, so what I have here is a situation where my slopes are opposite reciprocals of each other. If I compare this one to that one, they are opposite reciprocals of each other. One is positive 2/3 and the other one is negative 3/2. So since slopes are opposite reciprocals, lines are perpendicular. Okay, what I want to do now is I want to give you some situations that will happen, because when you get to your accelerated math homework, it'll kind of tell you some things, okay? So this is what will happen. There's basically 3 things that could happen, or 4 things really and truly that could happen. Your lines could be parallel, okay? And what that means is that they have to have the same slope. And we know that parallel lines look like this, right? And if it asks you how many solutions there are, solutions is how many points the 2 lines intersect in. And so if they're parallel, they're never going to intersect, which would mean that there is no solution. Okay. Then there are perpendicular lines. And perpendicular lines, we know, look like this. Okay. They have slopes that are opposite reciprocals. And they also will only cross, or they will cross in one point right here is where they will cross. So they have one solution. Okay. And then there's basically the neither case. Okay. Their slopes are unrelated. In other words, they're not the same slope and they're not opposite reciprocals. So for example, I might have one slope that's 1/2 and the other slope that's negative 2/3. Okay, they're not opposite reciprocals or anything. They also have one solution, and I'll show you what that looks like here. That would be a line that looks like this. They cross, but they're not perpendicular. Okay, so that's that situation. And then the last thing that sometimes can happen is you end up, when you find your two lines, with the same line. And what that means is that you have lines that go on top of each other like this. Okay, and so what I have here is I have the same slope and the same y-intercept, which doesn't always happen, but it can. And those have infinitely many solutions. They cross in every spot on the line. Okay, so that should help you with your homework.